So, welcome to Montreal Rocks. Today, we're very happy to have with us in the studio Forrest, a band made up of Matthew, Fuentes, and Holly Forrest. So, thanks for joining us today, guys.
Thank
Oh,
you for
thank you for
having
having
us.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that was in sync.
It kind of says a lot about how the music is coming along too, being in sync.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
But it wasn't always like that, right? When you guys first met, it wasn't all easy going. There was a rough patch at the beginning. You mentioned how the band kind of broke up every other day. What was it that finally clicked between the two of you, that made it last for 6 years now?
I think we both just wanted it so bad. I think it's both of our dreams just to write music and for that to be a career in any form of the word. And we, I think we became best friends from day one. That was never an issue. It was just, oh, like you're writing too folky, I'm writing too alternative, like punky. It's clashing, and I think we were both a bit stubborn and like my way's right, your way's right. And then one day it was like I really want to do this, and I don't really want to look for another bandmate. Okay, like we'll put a bit more finger picking in it. We can do more power chords. It just became a bit of give and take, and it was just easy.
Yeah. I think also too when you hear the word compromise, I think most people think like that immediately means you're gonna lose something. And not too many people focus on what you gain. And I
Yeah.
think at one point we were just like, okay, forget about that I want to do folk and you want to do punk. We're just gonna play and write a song that we both like. And we started doing that, and the minute we kind of swallowed our pride, like we gained our sound, I guess.
Yeah.
So even though it's not necessarily a Mumford and Sons cover band, or a Paramore tribute, it's I think we've come up with something that we both just love, and it's super organic for us now, and wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
And I believe that compromise, like you said, is not losing. It's actually offering a gift to the other person. Like
Yeah.
in a relationship, when you compromise, you actually elevate the other person. And that's the key to success of any relationship. And in a band, that's a relationship, right? So compromise is very important. And when you can take the ego out of it and just say, it's not just about me, I think that's when you guys meshed and started, like you said, forming your own sound, which is way better than trying to imitate the two different sounds you were going for.
Mhm.
100%.
A great meal is made by mixing ingredients,
Yeah.
right?
No,
True.
100%.
So I want to go back, maybe one at a time. I like to find out the origin of a band. Like every superhero has an origin story, and I want to picture yourself as a small child. You're probably rummaging through your parents' record collection, or maybe you're hearing them play music, or maybe it's your first concert. But was there a song or a moment when music kind of took on a deeper meaning for you? It was no longer something you heard, but something you felt, and you said to yourself, "This is changing everything."
Yeah, I definitely had one of those moments. And it's well known that my favorite band is Paramore, but when I discovered them, music was different. It wasn't just, oh, I like this song. It was like they make me feel better, and like the words hit differently and they make my day better. And I've I've started listening to them when I was maybe 13, and I had started playing guitar when I was 9, and they were two very separate things. And when I had always written poetry when I was little, and there was a moment where I thought, like, I want to do that. I want to, I want that feeling. I want to give that feeling to someone else. I want to do what they do. And there was a very like hard hitting moment that, yeah, music completely changed for me.
I find it interesting that you said that you wanted to give something to others.
Yeah.
And I feel that that is not what everybody does. A lot of people get into music because they want attention. They want the adoration. They want the likes. They want everything. But it's interesting that you kind of came into this already with this giving attitude, and that kind of says a lot about your writing style as well. Now, I want to talk a little bit about that. But well, actually, maybe before we get into that, was there something that that got you into music, Matthew?
Um, Not as cool as Holly's story.
Sorry.
I think I should have gone first. um, no, to be honest with you, I don't know if I ever really thought that I was gonna have a band. Um, since I was a kid, like none of my parents play music. I wasn't really around cool vinyls or anything cool like that. But since I was a kid, like I was always whistling. I just loved music, and it always made me feel better. Specifically, sad songs make me feel great for some reason.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Crazy.
I think they're not just sad. I think they're more beautiful than sad. Like I remember, like growing up, like I listened to the Smiths. Um, and
Happy go lucky.
yeah, for some reason though, it didn't make me feel bad. I felt super comforted, and I'm not one to listen to lyrics. Thank God, as a kid, because I mean, if a double-decker bus crashes into us, I mean, but um, but one thing I think since I was a kid is I've always cared more about melody and I guess the sonic aspect of music.
Mhm.
So just growing up, no matter what I did, whether I was going to play soccer or I was doing my homework or going to bed, like I need to listen to music. Calms me down, helps me focus, just makes me feel better. And I knew I was dabbling in possibly becoming either a lawyer or a math teacher in high school, but because I was too shy to play music, to actually play in front of people. And then I did like this little coffee house talent show thing, and people liked what I sang and played, and I was like, oh, cool, maybe I'm not garbage. And then I just started thinking, well, even if I'm not famous or whatever, I just want to do something that involves music. I just want to be around music. I'd prefer to make my own music, but I don't know how to write words. But I think from that kind of moment in high school, that's when I was really like, okay, I need to be around this more than just as a hobby. And yeah.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the subject matter of your songwriting. We just talked about the Smiths and how listening to sometimes sad music can make us happy.
Mhm.
And to me, it's like I have this mental image of when you write about real life, about real sadness. It's like you're letting it go off into infinity, like fly away. So it is a beautiful thing because you can release emotions. And I gotta say, I've been in a room with multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs, you know, tens of millions of dollars in sales. None of them are as strong as you because you could, as a singer songwriter, and the lyrics that you guys write, you are opening yourself up and revealing your pain, and then we kind of all work together to solve it, right? and and maybe you even talk about something, and then another listener will identify with a different problem, but that doesn't matter. But you're putting yourself out there, that these entrepreneurs will admit of how dark their lives are behind closed doors, but when you see them on Instagram, they look like they're having the time of their lives. That's not the case. None of us have perfect lives, and they hid their pain through success. So first of all, what is success to you, and how why do you find it important to talk about those subjects? Where do you get the courage to talk about those subjects and share them with the world?
So, firstly, success to me, uh, I was going to say musically, but I guess in general is just doing something I love for the rest of my life. And that is music. And that level of success has changed throughout the years, where now I don't think it's even, before it was, I just want to make a living off music and I want that to be my job. And now as even as times change with COVID, as that becomes maybe not super realistic, I just want to put music into the world that people can hear, even if we need to have a day job. But I want to play shows to people that want to hear it. What was the second part?
Well, just we want to talk about the subject matter. You kind of really open yourself up in the lyrics. You talked about a lot of the dark subjects, and I find that very brave, and I think it helps a lot of people. We're going to talk about one of your latest songs and the latest videos. The story doesn't end at chapter 14. So, well, why don't we just get into it?
Sure.
It's as good a time as any.
Yeah.
It took me 25 years to understand the effects of a friend's suicide and how it affected my ability to have relationships with other people, because I didn't want to let anybody in. I didn't want to be responsible for another life. Even though I've helped this person off the ledge, so to speak, multiple times. It's when I went away on a vacation that it happened. I came back and they're gone. So devastating.
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm
about
really
that.
sorry about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, but it's good that we talk about it, because when you talk about it, you can finally process the feelings and understand things. Then you can start repairing it. So, how do you cope with the dark thoughts when they come, and so that it doesn't end at chapter 14?
Yeah. I think the music that influenced me um, as a teenager, and those years that I discovered these bands were some of like the darkest moments I was going through. Um, and I think Tegan and Sarah, more than Paramore, were just, some of their songs are just so transparent, and that made me feel less alone. Um, like Tegan and Sarah's song "Knife Going in one of their like documentaries, they tell me what it's about, but to me, I took a different perspective on it that helped me through a lot. And it's just such a blunt song that when I started writing, I would cover things up and I would change the words, and then it just became like a realization that if my story and my song and my lyrics can help someone the way that these bands helped me, then I would rather be transparent, and I would rather like people see into what I'm feeling than write a happy song that also might make people feel better, but that's not how I write and feel. So yeah.
And I think as a dynamic of the band, you guys start with wanting to help out others. I mean, even the fact that your merch goes to help out different organizations, nonprofits, says a lot about that. Um, what are some of the causes that you guys care about that you want to maybe solve or help
Yeah.
solve?
The main charity we work with at the moment, just because it's really direct and easy to get the funds across, is actually my mum's foundation. My parents live in Indonesia, and she started a foundation maybe 5 or 6 years ago called the Fiona Unity Foundation. And that helps kids with disabilities and that are terminally ill go to school and get the medical help they need. Most of them are orphans. And so that's where a lot of our proceeds go at the moment. But yeah.
We have a lot of other organizations that we're trying to reach out to. Um, we've had to really rethink and replan merch and sales and everything because of COVID. But if you do go to our website, you can see at the bottom that we have a couple organizations that we'd love to help out even more, and we
Yeah.
think everybody should help out. Like for example, Sea Shepherd.
Yeah,
Right.
Rick O'Barry's Dolphin Foundation.
There's also
Slaughterhouse Survivors.
yeah.
Yeah. A lot of animal stuff.
A lot of animal stuff. I think that's one of the most things that hits us hardest
Yeah.
is a lot to do with animals, animal cruelty. Um, it's everybody wants a dog, and I think a lot of people see pets and animals in general as objects, but
Yeah.
really, they're not.
Family.
They're family. Like our pets are our children, and if anybody like stole my child, like I would lose it. Like and I think some people are just like, oh, like I've lost this thing that I purchased sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very important for people to just check out those organizations
Yeah.
that we mentioned. And
Yeah.
And now you know how Lady Gaga feels having her two.
Yeah.
Couple
Oh my
oh
God.
my God.
Well, let's kind of lighten it up a little bit. We kind of got dark there for a little while. What is the one quality that you admire the most about the other?
Oh my God.
I'll go first then.
I have lots, but
I guess the one quality, I feel like I'm in therapy. The one quality I admire the most about Matt is his open-mindedness to see both sides of everything, musically and not musically. I tend to be very stubborn with my thoughts, and whether it's with a song or otherwise, and he kind of brings me back down and says, okay, but there's also this side of things that maybe we should look at. And I do, and I need that a lot. So that's, yeah.
and I guess, contrary to that, Holly's very, I guess, dreamy is the word I'm looking for. But that's kind of the thing I admire the most, even from when we first started the band, but even outside of the band. When she gets an idea, it's like the biggest idea ever. And it's extremely hard to pull off. And to me, I'm like, oh, we can't do this. Like, this is too big for us. And she's like, no, we can do it. Trust me. And, she'll get in the mud and roll up her sleeves and do all the groundwork. And sometimes even a lot of the time, really, when I can't, for whatever reason, whether it's mentally or physically, she's just always able to overcome, and she's always able to set her mind on something and I guess help elevate me as well as the band. So that's probably one of the many things I admire about Holly.
There's an expression, you can't see the forest for the trees. So in your opinion, what are people missing? What are they not seeing in day-to-day life?
I think they're not seeing the constant mental health struggle. I think it's very easy to put out a song and say, like, I went through this and I wrote about it, here you go. But like many people, our mental health has probably declined with the pandemic. And even little things like posting one thing on Instagram sometimes becomes so overwhelming that when just one person reaches out and says, like, hey, I listened to your song and I liked it, or they comment on a photo, or just people like listening to the music, is such a big thing now, because sometimes things get so difficult. Not every day, but I think they're not seeing the little struggles as well that they also struggle with.
It is true. People have an easy time being mean on the internet or being abusive. And I don't think they understand the full effects of a negative comment.
Yeah.
You can have 100 positive comments and have one negative one that just ruins the 100. It's amazing how much power is in that negativity, and we don't need that in our day-to-day lives.
Not at all.
And also, when we talk about mental health and the pandemic, I truly believe that we're not going to see the end of it, because when PTSD is when a soldier comes back from active combat and is in a peaceful condition, that they fully kind of understand, like their body finally accepts the trauma, and that's when they get PTSD. So I think once this pandemic is over, I think maybe people that have held it together for a long period of time will fall apart, and they might need some of your music to understand themselves better, and to have that chapter 15, because it's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's a lot of setbacks now, right? Whether it's financially or just, I mean, everyone's different, and some people need social activities more than others. And I think that's, and like, for example, I mean, for some of my friends personally, I know that they've been like, a lot of their anxiety is actually seeing people and making friends. So
Mhm.
in a weird way, they're kind of like happy to be isolated. They're not happy about the situation itself, but you know, they've said they've kind of made more friends because there's more people online, and that's their area where they're most comfortable. And I'm like, that's great. And but they've also said to me that they're also scared because financially now they can't work, and as well as when it is all over, you know, it's back to the real world, and this little escape that they've had now is,
Introvert paradise.
yeah, in a weird way. I mean,
Yep.
like it's crazy how everybody takes things, like everybody interprets and feels things differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that you guys do as a band is you work on yourself. Like you mentioned, you work on your mental health. Recently, you became sober. I believe 6 months now. So congratulations. That's a
Yeah.
big accomplishment. Can you tell us about the moment when you took that decision? Uh, and how has it been a positive influence on your life since then? How's that been a plus for you?
Um, Probably like many people struggling with alcohol or other addictions, I had to hit the bottom, and it had to be a blackout night of bad decisions, and I had hurt some people. And I really had to hit the bottom before I said, okay, this is not good for me. This isn't good for the people around me. It's not good for my music, for my career, for anything. Um, and it was really difficult because I am such a shy, anxious person generally. So it had became a big crutch for I can speak to people when I have a drink, and I can socialize, and I can do this and I can do that, but it took away so much more than it gave me, that I really appreciated waking up not hungover, knowing I didn't have to think about, like, I know I didn't hurt a loved one the night before with what I had said. Um, so it gave me a lot. As time has gone on, I keep seeing more and more that it was the right decision for me.
I think also that when you use alcohol, for example, as a coping mechanism for the things that you're maybe shy or afraid to do, like speaking with people, then you don't gain that skill. You don't get to advance that skill, and you just kind of keep hiding behind that hack, so to speak. And when that hack is not there, then you're back to square one. So by kind of working on those things without having that, then you can actually build yourself up and gain, courage is like taking one step at a time, right? It's you don't run 1,000 miles. It's the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. So every step is a step in the right direction. But if you're constantly hiding behind something, then you're never moving, because you're never getting better.
Exactly, 100%.
Cool. um you have a Guinness World Record.
Yeah.
Tell us about that and how that all came about. That's a pretty cool accomplishment.
I forgot about that even too. It's been so long. We through the open mic scene, which is how we kind of started playing our first shows or whatever. Um, we played a Markham Rib Fest.
Yes.
Okay, and we met. Should I say his name?
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's a positive.
It is a
right?
positive thing. Oh, sorry, my dog just hit her head.
She's fine.
She's fine. So we met a man by the name of Kevin Kerr, and he puts on a lot of shows in like the Markham, Stouffville area. He's just a super nice dude. He's super, super, super involved in the music scene there, and one of his big dreams was to get the longest concert world record going. And yeah, so when he had the idea, he reached out to us and a bunch of other bands, and he was like, yeah, like, would you want to be involved? And we were so stoked to do it. Like, we just thought that was such a creative idea. And it was cool seeing so many bands that, like, a lot of our band friends be a part of the bill as well. And I think one of the big things about him, which I love, is whether you're big or small, he wants you involved.
Yeah.
You know. And so a lot of our friends who were starting out just like us were part of the show, and people who were bigger. So it was cool, like, to be a part of a show where you had other bands to look up to. And you're like, wow, I got to technically share the stage with them, and you might have crossed paths with them, and it's just such a cool experience.
But he was like breaking. There was already a record set in the States. I don't know, however long before that, but like we started it, or the event started, and it was going for a couple of days, and another place, I don't know whether it was in Canada or the States, was trying to break the exact same record.
Really?
Yeah, so he had a time set where he was like, okay, like we'll pass it by this much and then we'll stop. But I think he had to push it like quite a long time, and a couple bands did extra shows a couple days later to be a part of it, to break this other place that was trying to re-break it, and it was a really crazy cool thing.
That's
a real battle of the bands.
Yeah, it was.
Seriously, yeah. And then we got a cool little like certificate plaque thing.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Your first Instagram post ever is for a show that was done at Holly's High School.
Is it really?
So, do you remember that? Playing at your old high school?
I think so. When we went back there, I think.
Remember? And we were in the like Great Hall thing.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Like, describe that's got to be interesting emotion to live. You're going back to some place that you kind of spent a lot of time in, but now you're going there as a musician. How did that feel, hitting the stage and being in that historic place for you?
Yeah,
well, for you both. It was you, but it was for both of you were there. But
it was a bit of a slap in the face, to be honest. It wasn't that dream like I'm gonna go back and play my high school and I'm gonna be that cool alumni graduate and the teachers are gonna like say that's awesome. It was not that at all. It was, most people have no idea who I am or was when I was there. Half the teachers didn't remember me. We played in like a foyer area. Not many people listened. It was fun, but it wasn't that like, I went back and played at my high school. Yeah, we've played at Matt's high school, and those were some really cool moments. But when we went to Indonesia and did that was a bit of a like, oh man.
We were still really early on.
Yeah.
Like I don't even think did we have the album yet?
No.
Yeah. So like it was super early, and but I thought it was cool to see where Holly went to school. So I was pretty stoked being there. We played for a couple of the younger grades too.
Yeah.
And I thought that was super cute. So
maybe one day they'll have the Holly Forrest wing.
Yeah.
but not yet. Eventually, we've got to work on it. That'll be one of the charities.
Yeah.
So of course you guys have started along the years. You had to get better. You've hit a lot of stages. You obviously can't play live now. you're creating new music. You got a new part 2 of your EP. Dear Friends Part 2 is coming out very soon. I got to listen to it. I'm so happy. So, a couple songs are already out. A couple are coming out that are basically new. So we can't talk about it, but we'll talk about it a little bit later. But I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of hits the street. But I want you to kind of think about happier times ahead. The COVID restrictions are lifted. You're having your first show. What's the first song you're going to play live?
Whoa,
Oh,
don't know.
we have to reorganize the set.
Yeah. Whoa.
Okay, I think it's going to be a cover of Wonderwall.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Wonder Woman or Wonderwall?
Wonderwall.
Okay.
I feel like chapter 14, the story doesn't end at chapter 14, might be a fun one to start it with. A
Yeah.
nice, upbeat, positive song. That could be fun.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, I can hear that. being
We
the first song.
usually, in the past, we've always ended our set with Tidal Wave, and I still love the way that feels. So I think we'll start it with the story doesn't end at chapter 14.
What is chapter 15 for the band? What's next for you guys? You got the
Take
EP
over
coming
the
out.
world.
I think just trying to grow and to reach out to as many people that want to hear us. We have a great team behind us with this double EP. And so it's reaching more people than we ever have before, and we're getting good responses. And I think just continuing to share what we write and just make new stuff.
Yeah, I think we're really taking it day by day, especially with the situation in the world. But I don't think we could be any happier with what's happened. I mean, we planned the release of the first EP before the lockdown happened, and we had so much planned, and we really had to rescale ourselves and adjust budgets and whatnot. And just the success that we've had with the songs and the amount of people that have actually heard them and listened to them, and people who've reached out. I mean, I'm so stoked. If this is chapter 14, I can't wait for the next chapter.
Yeah.
I have no clue what it's going to be like, but just look forward to keep writing music and people
I
listen.
don't want to bust your bubble, but the numbers might be inflated just because of me.
That's fine. That's totally cool.
I keep listening to it on Spotify like on repeat. And I think my family's gonna get like insane. They're gonna think I'm insane or something. But I just can't get enough. It's so good. So we're asking all the listeners, whoever's watching this, check out the back catalog. It's amazing. Holly, I love your voice. It's got this little peculiarities. And the guitar is insane. Some of those riffs, man, they're epic, and I really enjoyed it. I want to thank you for your time. Before we end, I like to play a little game. You've probably heard of fantasy football or fantasy sports. I'm not a sports guy, but I love musicians and I love music. I love rock bands. Let's play fantasy rock band. Let us create the ultimate band. We need a singer, guitarist, bassist or keyboardist, and a drummer. Who would you pick to create the Forrest Dream Band?
So
you can pick singer because
I was gonna pick guitarist because I think we both agree. I think this band would have 2 guitarists, and I think it would be.
Let's see what you're gonna say.
Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah, 1000%.
From Fleetwood Mac and Taylor York from Paramore.
Yeah, okay, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Singer. Oh my goodness. Maybe.
There's a lot of good singers out there.
Maybe Billie Eilish. I don't know. Her voice just blows my mind. I think that would be really cool.
Man.
And I think I would want Dave Grohl on the drums.
I'm getting obliterated. Like this is a hard question.
Yeah.
Drop it. Sorry, this is Stella. I think she'd play the bass. Vocals. I mean, weirdly enough, I think we admire a lot of pop artists because just some. I mean, personally, like I used to think that Sia
Yeah, I
had
was
one of the
just gonna
most
say that.
amazing voices I've ever heard. So I mean, her Billie Eilish's Control is ridiculous too. So like
Oh, what about the bassist?
the
Oh,
bass
no.
player, to be honest with you, I love the bass parts in most of Death Cab for Cutie songs.
And I'm pretty sure, no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that bassist might have played on one of Tegan and Sarah's albums.
Yeah,
So I'll take that. The bassist of Death Cab for Cutie.
yeah. I'd definitely say he's one for me. Oddball. I mean, we picked Lindsey Buckingham and like.
Hey, I can't wait to listen to that band.
Yeah, no, me neither. That sounds great.
Hey, thank you so much, guys. We look forward to your next chapter. We look forward to the EP coming out. And if you haven't seen the video yet, do yourself a favor, watch it. It's pretty powerful. I'll put a link to my older story where I dissect the video, and we kind of went back and forth on this. I had a different take than you guys, but that's okay, because the whole point of putting music out there sometimes is the listener can have its own narration of what it means to them. And I think that's important. And I think, especially the music and the lyrics that you guys have, if you can make it your own and make it a positive thing at the end, it's a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us tonight. And I look forward to seeing much success, and that you can not only, use this as a way to make a living, but that you can support the charities that you guys care about, and keep working on it.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We really, really appreciate it.